Faye Dunaway is widely known for her tense and absorbing performances. She enjoyed early success on stage and has since gained international stardom for her film work. In fact, her career in acting has proved to be as influential as it was successful. So here are some secret facts about Faye Dunaway. But before we get into the details, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment below saying I subscribed, and we'll do our best to personally reply to your comment. Faye Dunaway was born on January 14th, 1941, in the tiny town of Bascom, Florida. Growing up with a father in the U.S. Army provided an unconventional education in life skills, adaptability, resilience, and open-mindedness. Families stationed in different parts of the world learned to accept change as a constant, and for young Faye, moving so frequently meant encountering new cultural norms, languages, and people from every walk of life. Though this might have been challenging for some children, it clearly seeded the beginnings of her versatility, an attribute that would later distinguish her on stage and screen. Her high school years at Leon High School were similarly formative. While many teenagers dabble in extracurricular activities, Dunaway tackled them with near-professional zeal: dance, singing, piano, each skill demanding countless hours of disciplined practice. Such rigorous training was not just about self-expression. It ingrained in her a near-obsessive dedication to craft that she would carry throughout her acting career. Learning dance taught her about body control, essential for any performer hoping to convey emotion physically. Singing honed her vocal projection and pitch awareness, which can add layers of resonance to line delivery. And piano taught her about rhythm, timing, and emotional crescendo, all invaluable components for a dramatic performance. Even as a teenager, Dunaway showed hints of the self-assured confidence that would become integral to her stage and screen presence. By not confining herself to a single artistic discipline, she was, in effect, preparing herself to handle the multifaceted demands of acting in a fiercely competitive industry. Upon graduating from Leon High School, she took these artistic seeds with her to higher education. During these university years, Dunaway acted in several stage productions. Garnering praise from faculty and peers alike, this immediate recognition fueled her ambition. By the time she graduated in 1962, she was not merely a hopeful talent, but a serious contender brimming with promise. Boston University also gave her access to a network of mentors and professionals who would guide her next steps. She had already begun to carve out a clear path towards her goal, a full-fledged career in acting, with an emphasis on roles that demanded emotional depth and intellectual rigor. The leap from theater to television to film is one that many aspiring actors attempt, yet few navigate with the swiftness that Faye Dunaway displayed. After making her television debut in 1965, she quickly transitioned into film, appearing in Hurry Sundown and The Happening in 1967. These early roles gave audiences a glimpse of her commanding presence, but it was her performance in Bonnie and Clyde that truly catapulted her into the stratosphere of Hollywood stardom. Bonnie and Clyde arrived at a moment of profound cultural and cinematic transformation. The late 1960s in Hollywood saw the collapse of the old production code and the dawn of new Hollywood, a movement characterized by more experimental storytelling, open portrayals of sex and violence, and an embrace of youth culture. Casting Dunaway as Bonnie Parker was a masterstroke. She delivered a performance that was equal parts mesmerizing and unsettling. Bonnie was glamorous yet desperate, tough yet heartbreakingly vulnerable. This complexity resonated powerfully with a generation that found itself questioning traditional values. Dunaway's on-screen chemistry with Warren Beatty, Clyde Barrow, played a significant role in the film's success. Their partnership transcended mere romance. It was a thrilling dance between two outlaws, propelled by a mix of love, ambition, and defiance against a societal order they felt had no place for them. Critics and audiences alike were captivated, and Hollywood took note. The role of Bonnie Parker became synonymous with Dunaway's name, establishing her as an actress who could blend beauty and grit seamlessly. Yet success did not always translate into box office triumph or critical praise. Shortly after Bonnie and Clyde, Dunaway appeared in A Place for Lovers, 1968, which was a commercial and critical disappointment. Despite starring alongside the legendary Marcello Mastroianni and apparently igniting a real-life romance, the film's script and execution failed to connect with audiences. This experience highlighted an important facet of Dunaway's career, her willingness to take risks. She was not satisfied simply to rest on her laurels or stick to safe projects. In 1969, her roles in The Arrangement and The Extraordinary Seaman similarly failed to make a lasting impression on critics or the box office. However, that same year, she found critical success in Little Big Man, where she shone in a supporting role. Working alongside Dustin Hoffman in a satirical western that challenged the mythic narratives of the American frontier, Dunaway demonstrated her adaptability yet again. The pattern of commercial peaks and valleys continued. In 1970, she starred in Puzzle of a Downfall Child, a film that might not have set the box office on fire, but earned her another Golden Globe nomination. Around the same time, she also featured in The Deadly Trap, a French thriller that broadened her international appeal and proved her ability to adapt to different cinematic styles. As an actress, Dunaway seemed to operate under a guiding principle: the desire to inhabit compelling characters, even if the film itself wasn't guaranteed to be a mainstream hit. This fearlessness extended into the early 1970s, when she took on roles like Wallace Simpson in the TV movie The Woman I Love, 1972. Simpson was a deeply controversial figure who had played a part in the abdication crisis of King Edward VIII. Portraying such a polarizing historical personage underscored Dunaway's penchant for challenging roles that carried significant emotional weight. In 1973, with Oklahoma Crude, Dunaway took on another strong female character caught in the tension between ambition and social norms. Set against the backdrop of oil drilling in early 20th century Oklahoma, her performance revealed how effectively she could handle period drama, capturing the raw determination of a woman fighting for autonomy and success in a male-dominated environment. She also ventured into swashbuckling territory with The Three Musketeers, 1973, and The Four Musketeers, 1974, showing that she could handle comedic timing, action sequences, and costume drama just as skillfully. These films, though quite different from the gritty realism of Bonnie and Clyde, helped broaden her range and appeal. Audiences came to see Dunaway as an actress who refused to be boxed in by genre or typecasting. Through all these experiences, one overarching theme emerges: Dunaway's relentless drive to evolve. She never seemed satisfied with repeating a proven formula. Instead, she approached each new script as an opportunity to test her boundaries. While some choices yielded acclaim and recognition, others did not. Still, she pressed on. This period in her career is particularly illuminating, for it shows an actress unafraid of the unpredictability that comes with artistic ambition. Moreover, Dunaway's collaborations with directors also played a key role in her development. From auteurs like Arthur Penn, Bonnie and Clyde, to others in both American and European cinema, she placed herself in environments that demanded adaptability. These collaborations sharpened her craft, forcing her to learn from different directorial styles and often challenging her to explore new emotional registers. In retrospect, the diversity of her roles during this time frame is staggering. She might go from playing a high-fashion American designer grappling with terminal illness in one film to a frontierswoman in a comedic western or a psychologically tormented model in an experimental drama. This versatility made her a filmmaker's dream, even as it sometimes puzzled audiences expecting her to stick to more conventional star vehicles. All the while, her screen presence was undeniable. Even in films that did not fare well commercially, critics routinely singled out her performances for praise. This consistent recognition kept her in the spotlight, ensuring that she remained a sought-after name for ambitious projects. It also cemented her reputation as an actress, whose artistry transcended a project's success or failure. If you cast Faye Dunaway, you knew you were getting a level of dedication and intensity that could elevate the material to something memorable. By the early 1970s, with several notable credits and awards behind her, Dunaway was well on her way to becoming one of the definitive actresses of her generation. The stage was set for a period of renewed acclaim and influential roles that would further shape her status within the Hollywood pantheon. This era of Faye Dunaway's career is often seen as her golden age. In 1974, she starred in Chinatown, directed by Roman Polanski and co-starring Jack Nicholson. The film's screenplay, penned by Robert Towne, is revered as one of the greatest in cinematic history, a dense tapestry of corruption, family secrets, and the complexities of power in Los Angeles. Dunaway's role as Evelyn Mulray was deceptively challenging. Evelyn is at once sophisticated and fragile, harboring dark secrets that slowly unravel. Dunaway's subtle facial expressions and controlled emotional reveals infuse the character with a deep sense of tragedy, which became most evident in the film's shocking climax. Chinatown was a critical and commercial success that epitomized the creative renaissance of 1970s American cinema. It earned multiple Oscar nominations, including one for Dunaway. The film's blend of classic noir elements with New Hollywood's daring approach to themes of incest, betrayal, and moral ambiguity demanded an actress with the emotional range to pull viewers into Evelyn's tormented psyche. Dunaway delivered precisely that, cementing her reputation as one of the era's preeminent leading women. In the same year, she pivoted to a disaster epic, The Towering Inferno, appearing alongside big-name stars like Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. While it may seem like a drastic shift in genre from the brooding noir of Chinatown to a big-budget ensemble spectacle, this move showcased her adaptability. Her role as Newman's fiancée allowed her to bring a note of humanity and romance to a film dominated by fire-induced chaos. Though not as critically lauded as Chinatown, The Towering Inferno became a huge box office hit, underscoring Dunaway's commercial viability. Her upward trajectory continued in 1975 with 3 Days of the Condor, a tense political thriller directed by Sidney Pollack, in which she co-starred with Robert Redford. Here, Dunaway played a woman who becomes entangled in a high-stakes CIA conspiracy, delivering a performance that combined nervous tension with an undercurrent of reluctant empathy. The film was another commercial success, and critics applauded both the film's topical exploration of government mistrust and Dunaway's deft handling of her character's emotional evolution. In 1976, she took part in Voyage of the Damned, a Holocaust drama dealing with the harrowing voyage of Jewish refugees on the MS St. Louis, seeking asylum from Nazi persecution. While the film received a more subdued reception, it tackled a weighty historical subject, giving Dunaway an opportunity to engage with moral and emotional questions of survival and humanity. That same year saw her iconic portrayal of Diana Christensen in Network, Penned by Patty Chayefsky and directed by Sidney Lumet, Network is frequently cited as a prophetic satire on the commercialization and sensationalism of television news. Diana Christensen is an ambitious, morally conflicted television executive who recognizes the profit potential in exploiting the on-air madness of a mentally unstable anchorman, played by Peter Finch. Dunaway's performance is electrifying. She embodies the cutthroat ethos of corporate media and the emptiness underneath that relentless pursuit of ratings. Her portrayal earned her numerous accolades, including an Oscar for Best Actress, the only Academy Award of her career. Critics lauded Dunaway's nuanced ability to make Diana both terrifyingly ruthless and tragically hollow, which served as a powerful commentary on media ethics. Her success in Network catapulted Dunaway even further into the limelight. She was universally recognized as one of the most formidable talents of her generation, commanding roles in major studio pictures and winning critical acclaim in the process. During this period, she also worked with acting titan Bette Davis in The Disappearance of Amy, 1976. Sharing the screen with Davis, a legend from Hollywood's golden age, highlighted a generational bridge. Dunaway's performance suggested that she could hold her own against any screen partner, no matter how iconic. The actress made a series of public appearances that year, from red carpet events to talk shows, and every time she appeared, newspapers reported throngs of admirers lining up for hours in the hopes of getting an autograph. On late-night interview programs, she was repeatedly asked how she'd managed to humanize a character so unscrupulous. Dunaway typically emphasized her commitment to honesty in acting. No matter how flawed or morally compromised the role, she believed each character deserved the fullness of real human emotion. Journalists wrote profiles praising her capacity to shift seamlessly between vulnerability and unbridled intensity. One widely circulated feature posited that her face, so striking in still photographs, carried an almost intimidating aura in motion. Her eyes reflected deep-seated fervor, as though behind them lies a constant calculation of the next strategic move. That piece, which ran in a national magazine, helped cement Dunaway's image as a complex, formidable artist. Critics and columnists also drew parallels between Dunaway's ascent and that of Hollywood icons like Bette Davis, Joan Crawford, and Katharine Hepburn, women who had once defied conventional expectations of femininity on screen. The conversation revolved around how Dunaway belonged in the lineage of fiercely independent actresses, those who confronted taboo topics or portrayed morally ambiguous characters without fear. Indeed, her bold approach in Network was seen as a direct extension of the brazen, no-holds-barred styles that Davis and Crawford had pioneered in earlier decades. In 1978, she starred in Eyes of Laura Mars, a thriller directed by Irvin Kershner and penned by John Carpenter. The film explored the eerie connection between a fashion photographer and a serial killer. While critics had mixed responses, many applauded Dunaway for bringing credibility to a story that blended high-fashion glamour with psychic horror. She again showcased her ability to fully immerse herself in a psychologically complex role, balancing vulnerability with underlying strength. Her supporting role in The Champ, 1979, continued her pattern of taking on different genres, and by 1980 she appeared in The First Deadly Sin with Frank Sinatra, his final major film role. These consistent appearances in varied projects kept her in the public eye, and her performances often stood out as the most compelling elements of the films. In 1981, she portrayed Eva Peron in the miniseries Evita Peron, further demonstrating her interest in real-life historical figures. The demands of portraying such an iconic individual particularly one so pivotal in Argentine political history, were immense. But Dunaway rose to the challenge, capturing both the ambition and the vulnerability of Eva. Later that year, she starred in Mommy Dearest, a film that would become infamous for its intense portrayal of Joan Crawford's alleged abuse of her daughter. While it was a commercial success, Dunaway's depiction of Crawford was polarizing. Critics were harsh, describing it as over-the-top and lacking empathy. The film's campy reputation later turned it into a cult classic, and some modern reappraisals have recognized Dunaway's meticulous craft beneath the film's sensational veneer. Nonetheless, Mommy Dearest introduced a complicated note into her career narrative. Despite the controversy surrounding Mommy Dearest, this 1974 to 1981 period remains the high watermark of Dunaway's cinematic journey. It demonstrated her range from period dramas to prescient satire to psychological thrillers. This was the era in which she fully came into her own as a leading actress, collecting an Oscar and multiple nominations and capturing the public's imagination with her singular blend of beauty, intensity, and intelligence. As the 1980s dawned, Hollywood was transitioning into an era of big-budget blockbusters and action franchises. Though this shift in studio priorities might have reduced the number of daring, character-driven scripts available, Faye Dunaway continued to work consistently, carving out a career path that included mainstream films, independent projects, and television miniseries. This flexibility allowed her to remain in demand and preserve her status as an enduring presence on screen. In 1982, she appeared in The Country Girl, a role that reflected her ongoing interest in character-driven dramas, despite a market increasingly dominated by more formulaic productions. A year later, she took on The Wicked Lady, 1983, a film that balanced period detail with swashbuckling adventure. By 1984, she ventured into the superhero genre with Supergirl, portraying the villainous Selena. While Supergirl received mixed reviews, Dunaway approached the role with gusto, demonstrating her willingness to enter less conventional territory. Her appearance that same year in the miniseries Ellis Island garnered her a Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress. The miniseries format, popular throughout the 1980s, gave Dunaway ample space to delve deeper into character development over multiple episodes. This trend of appearing in television projects and miniseries continued throughout the decade, exemplified by her roles in Christopher Columbus, 1985, 13 at Dinner, 1985, and Ordeal by Innocence, 1985. By embracing television roles, Dunaway stayed relevant in a rapidly changing media landscape, broadening her audience beyond the confines of theatrical releases. In 1987, she gave a memorable performance in Barfly, directed by Barbet Schroeder and based on Charles Bukowski's semi-autobiographical writings. Co-starring Mickey Rourke, Barfly was a stark departure from glossy studio pictures. It portrayed the lives of down-and-out alcoholics who frequent a seedy bar in Los Angeles. Dunaway's portrayal of Wanda, a weary yet defiant woman caught in a destructive cycle, earned praise for its raw authenticity. The role showcased her willingness to shed the aura of glamorous leading lady in favor of more challenging, grounded portrayals. She continued to explore diverse material throughout the late 1980s, with roles in The Gamble, 1988, and appearances in TV movies like Cold, Sassy Tree and Fire or Wind, both 1989. Though these projects did not capture the same level of cultural impact as her earlier hits, they allowed her to remain active in front of the camera, refining her craft. In 1990, she starred in The Handmaid's Tale, adapted from Margaret Atwood's dystopian novel. Dunaway played Serena Joy, the commander's wife, a role marked by both deep repression and simmering anger. The film's bleak portrayal of a near-future authoritarian regime presaged the success of later adaptations and underscored Dunaway's knack for embodying complicated emotional states. As the 1990s progressed, she took part in projects that range from thrillers, Double-Edged 1992, to dramas exploring romantic or existential themes, Love Interest, 1993. In 1998, she appeared in Gia, a biographical film about model Gia Karangi, which also starred Angelina Jolie. Playing the modeling agent Wilhelmina Cooper, Dunaway brought a layer of industry realism and compassion to the story of a rising star struggling with addiction. This portrayal connected her to a new generation of Hollywood talent, as Angelina Jolie's performance in Gia was a breakout moment for the younger actress. By the turn of the millennium, Dunaway continued her balancing act between film and television. She took a role in The Yards, 2000, a crime drama featuring Mark Wahlberg and Joaquin Phoenix. The film's gritty exploration of corruption and loyalty allowed Dunaway to contribute a motherly, if somewhat distant, presence. In Running Mates, 2001, she once again earned a Golden Globe nomination, highlighting how she could still impress critics despite changing trends and generational shifts in the industry. In 2006, a guest appearance in an episode of CSI titled Kiss Kiss Bye Bye brought her to primetime network television, exposing her to an audience that might primarily have known her only by reputation. Stepping into the role of a glamorous casino owner suspected in a murder case, she showcased her enduring flair for both sophistication and dramatic tension. Flick, 2008, was another departure, a British independent horror film, modest in scope but reflective of Dunaway's continuing interest in varied genres. Finally, in 2017, she appeared in The Case for Christ, a Christian drama film that explores themes of faith and skepticism. Over this long arc, Dunaway consistently gravitated towards scripts that challenged her, whether they were high-concept genre pieces or intimate character studies. One of the hallmarks of her late career is this embrace of diversity. She never allowed herself to be typecast solely as the glamorous leading lady from her 1970s heyday. Instead, she delved into television, smaller budget films, and ensemble casts. While none of these later roles achieved the cultural resonance of Bonnie and Clyde, Chinatown, or Network, they underscored Dunaway's commitment to working steadily and exploring new creative avenues. She maintained an enviable longevity in an industry that can be particularly harsh toward actresses once they cross a certain age threshold. Moreover, Dunaway's continuing presence in the film and television landscape signified the respect she commanded among filmmakers. Younger directors and actors often cited her as an icon, recalling how her performances shaped their own views on what acting could be. Even in smaller roles, Dunaway brought a sense of class and gravitas, reminding viewers of the golden era of 1970s cinema while still adapting to modern storytelling styles. Looking at this later phase, it's remarkable how well she navigated the often treacherous waters of Hollywood's youth-obsessed culture. She selectively took on roles that, while not always mainstream blockbusters, were artistically interesting or personally meaningful. This path allowed her to maintain visibility and relevance while preserving the integrity of her craft. Faye Dunaway's personal life, including her marriages, has often been overshadowed by her towering professional achievements. Nevertheless, her relationships shed light on the balance, or imbalance, between an intense career and personal commitments. Her first marriage was to Peter Wolf, the lead singer of the J. Giles Band. They tied the knot in 1974 in the midst of Dunaway's post-Bonnie and Clyde fame. Balancing the rigors of a Hollywood career with the touring life of a rock musician was undoubtedly challenging. Despite her decision to withdraw from The Wind and the Lion in 1975 to devote more time to her marriage, the combined weight of their individual career obligations proved too heavy. Their divorce in 1979 was not entirely surprising, given the frenetic pace and public scrutiny that both faced. In 1983, Dunaway married Terry O'Neill, a British photographer renowned for capturing iconic images of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and various Hollywood luminaries. With O'Neill, Dunaway adopted her only child, Liam. The marriage, however, lasted only 4 years, ending in 1987. While the reasons for their split remain personal, it once again highlighted the difficulties of maintaining stability amid the demands of show business. For Dunaway, motherhood became a treasured role. Even though she chose to keep her family life relatively private, she has spoken on occasion about the joy and responsibility of raising a son. At the same time, her unyielding commitment to her craft persisted. Post-divorce, she continued to pursue projects that spoke to her artistic sensibilities, perhaps finding a new equilibrium in single parenthood and professional ambition. In recent years, Dunaway has remained unmarried, channeling her energies into acting, occasional forays into producing or stage directing, and personal development. The challenges she faced in her marriages reflect a broader narrative shared by many in the entertainment industry, that the demands of fame, frequent travel, long shooting schedules, and intense public scrutiny can strain even the strongest bonds. Yet, as with all things Dunaway, she navigated these personal upheavals with a mixture of grace, resolve, and an unwavering focus on her career. In interviews, she occasionally acknowledges lessons learned from her marriages and the importance of nurturing relationships even amid a hectic schedule. This personal dimension adds another layer of complexity to an actress already known for her multifaceted on-screen personas. Faye Dunaway's life and career exemplify the evolution of a performer from promising newcomer to international icon, one who repeatedly challenged herself with diverse roles and never allowed external circumstances to dictate her path. From a nomadic childhood shaped by her father's military service to the glittering and often cutthroat world of Hollywood, she continually harnessed her experiences, transforming them into nuanced, compelling performances. That's the content of today's video. If you enjoy the video, give us a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more of our new videos. Thanks for watching.